It's been a couple years. More than a couple. I don't know how to do video intros anymore. Welcome back. You can thank my mother for this video because she wanted me to cook more and, like everyone, has seen the ads for the at-home meal kits. If you're like me, a millennial who most likely works full-time, has a busy schedule, and doesn't always eat healthy, you've probably been advertised for something such as HelloFresh. At-home meal kits have been blowing up. If you're like me, you don't want to spend a fortune, but curiosity kills the cat. It's kind of cringy that I fell for it. Not really though, because here I am going to give you an honest review. This is not sponsored in any way. Nobody pays me money because I haven't been active on YouTube for years. Just a normie old person trying out a box meal kit. So a little bit of background. I come up from a family that had a lot of dietary restrictions when I was young, so we did a lot of at-home cooking. Almost every meal was a home-cooked meal, which is part of why my mom was like, I want you to get back into cooking, so you should do something that encourages that. From someone who has a modest background in cooking and knows the basics, has known the basics since they were very young, I thought it'd be a decent ground point, because I'm no Chef Ramsay, I'm not a master cook, I don't know how to do things fancy, I just know how to make a meal and not burn it. I'm coming from a moderate experience level, and I want to kind of go into depth on whether it's accessible to people who have no experience. These ads have a lot of claims, like it will save you money, it's cheaper than takeout or groceries. That point I feel like might have come a little short on, but we'll talk about that more too. So I'll go over more pros and cons later, items such as price point, taste, accessibility, but for now, let's get cooking. It's Sunday, so here is your box. Now let's talk about price. HelloFresh is not very upfront with their pricing. First box you get will have heavy discounts. It will be about $28 for 2 people for 3 meals, so it's not a bad price, I thought, until I went until my second week and realized that it was going to be over $65, and that is with a 35% discount they claim. That's steep. So I don't know what grocery store you're shopping at, or maybe it's just because I'm in the Midwest, where our cost of living is relatively low, but this is not cheaper than the grocery store for me. I could definitely go to Aldi and get all this stuff for cheaper, but it is kind of nice to have things pre-portioned so that way I don't waste any, because I don't need to buy a 20-pound bag of potatoes to feed 2 people. I would suggest removing the produce before stomping on your box to show your disapproval of the price. So I decided to cook my first meal, the creamy Dijon dill chicken, which seemed like a simple but full course meal. I was pleasantly happy with how all the produce looked fresh. However, it did make my entire house smell like broccoli. Overall, seemed pretty reasonable as far as the ingredients went. Nothing looked complicated. A lot of little packets of sauce. A weird kind of nondescript package that says chicken. And a lot of potatoes. That's about it. Say the hardest part of this is probably the prep. There's a lot of chopping vegetables and stuff like that, which seems kind of tedious and isn't always fun to do. But other than that, this meal prep was pretty straightforward, and the only other challenging part is maybe multitasking once you get things in the oven and on the stove. So let's talk about HelloFresh. Is it worth that big ticket price of like $100 for 3 meals a week for 2 people? It did definitely cut down on my grocery bill for that week. However, I'm not sure if I could justify spending that kind of money all the time because I could go out and get these ingredients for cheaper, which is why I was right to be skeptical about these kinds of programs where they mail you stuff that you could go out and get and say that they're going to give it to you for cheaper. I mean, the logic just kind of fell short for me. Was the meal actually good? Yes, I would say that I enjoyed the flavor. It wasn't too difficult to make. My one gripe about the instructions is that they nowhere had me check the temperature of the chicken I was cooking. They really should be encouraging their customers to use a meat thermometer and telling people what temperature things should come to, because a lot of people that get these boxes think they can do it with zero experience, which they could, but they could get seriously sick. But other than that, it was easy enough to where I would say a beginner could do this, and it was something that you could probably recreate using your own ingredients. But as far as like it being cheaper than takeout, I feel like unless you're getting steak and sushi every night, you could do better with takeout. Like if I got Chipotle, it would be cheaper than a HelloFresh meal. But you can't get all the flavors and types of foods that are available on HelloFresh through takeout. There's a lot of vegetarian options, which I think is really cool. I personally am not vegetarian, but I do like eating vegetarian meals often. It's kind of good in that way, where if you're struggling to come up with creative meals because you have certain food preferences or dietary needs, it is kind of nice to meet that. The portions were quite hearty. I do feel like it was filling. So my honest review is this probably isn't for most people to get a meal kit box like this because the price just can't be justified when you could do it yourself. But getting the gumption to go out and create your own meals and plan them, it is easy to just be able to open your fridge, take out a bag, and cook. Of course, you still have to do the cleaning and a lot of the prep work, but it does cut down on waste, I would say. I can agree with that point. It's not cheaper than grocery store. It's not cheaper than takeout. There's a sense of satisfaction when you actually made it yourself and get to enjoy it. So that's kind of cool. Price is the big con that I keep coming back to. It's less of a scam than I thought it was gonna be. I was extremely skeptical, and I was still skeptical as I was cooking. And my skepticism was kind of wrong in some cases, but I still feel like it's really expensive. So if you're curious about HelloFresh, I would say it's not a bad idea to try it, but be careful because it's one of those subscription services where if you don't cancel it quickly, they will get you because they ship it out Sunday and by Tuesday you can pick or decline next week's shipment. So you kind of got to be on top of it. It's not a bad price to start, but it racks up real quick, and for most people, I think the price is kind of out of range. There are convenience factors. There's an inconvenience, that is the price. I personally feel like I probably wouldn't continue to get it on a consistent basis. I definitely won't fault anyone for using a service like HelloFresh because honestly, it wasn't that bad. It tasted good, it was relatively healthy, fulfilling meal, and if that fits your lifestyle, go for it. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Might possibly, maybe, who knows, make more videos in the future. I've been missing the kind of creativity that goes into making a video for you guys. Doing this little test run of HelloFresh was fun. If you want me to do more honest reviews, leave ideas in the comments. I'd be more than willing to try something out, so long as it's not extraordinarily expensive. Thank you, and I hope to see you soon.